Good morning. On Tuesday, we celebrated what we call a Gotcha Day with Melinda. Gotcha Day is basically the anniversary of the day that she was adopted. And in celebration of that, we shared this picture on Facebook that I'm going to show you. And it's just this delightful picture of, uh, of Melinda and I, and it's a reenactment. And the picture over here is she and I walk into the airport in Guatemala City, and then we reenacted that picture. And the really cool thing about that picture, I mean, it warms my heart to begin with. But as I shared that on Facebook, I got more likes on that one photo than any other picture or anything else I've ever shared. And it reminds me of something. It reminds me that in our heart of hearts, the story that people long for is one of redemption, of connection, of belonging, hope, and a future. And they're looking for that kind of story. And I think about the Bible tells a story about that. And let me actually just read that to you from Revelation 21, 1 through 6. There's all this chaos going on in the world. And then towards the end of the Bible here, the writer John says in Revelation 21, beginning at verse 1, he says, "And then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man, and he will dwell with them, and they will be his people. And God himself will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain, for the former things have passed away.' And he who was seated on the throne said, 'Behold, I am making all things new.' Also he said, 'Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true.' And he said to me, 'It is done. I am the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give the spring of water of life without payment.'" And you think about that. That's the story. That's the story of where we're headed to. And when I think of like adoption, you know why adoption takes place? Because something went wrong in the world. That's why adoption takes place. And I think that's why people celebrate it, because there's this redemption, there's this connection. Somebody that's not in a family now gets connected to a family. They now belong. There's now hope. There's now a future. Here's the question I have for you. In the midst of something wrong, in the midst of the world being crazy around us and maybe within us at this time, what is the story you're telling yourself? Are you telling yourself the story of the destruction and of what's wrong? Are you telling yourself the biblical story of this redemption, of this connection to God, connection to one another, as God redeems people from every tribe, every tongue, and every nation where they belong to him? And we have that hope and we have a future. God bless you. Praying for you. Tell yourself the biblical story. Live the biblical story.